Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Leach back here with another reaction video. NCAA to fine Michigan more than 20 mil for signs stealing penalties for Jim Harbaugh and Sharon Moore. Let's get right into it. Make sure y'all hit that sub button, turn the notifications on for daily uploads, and make sure y'all follow the socials on the screen. It'd be much appreciated.
Another game suspension for head coach
cheaters finally get punished.
Already had been suspended for
Sharon
2
Moore
games
gets
this
additional
upcoming
game
season
suspension,
and
3 total
scheduled
games now.
to come for weeks 3 and 4.
It took
the penalties
way too
come
long,
in the wake of the school's sign-stealing scheme on former coach Jim Harbaugh's watch, with former assistant Connor Stalions accused of running the operation. Harbaugh's going to receive a show cause, of 10 years, while Stalions is going to get one of 8 years, according to Yahoo Sports. So here's really the big things that you need to know.
But this is kind of light, though. Like, I mean, I think
it's a 4-year probationary period. We have that 14 weeks of prohibition coming up. But the big one there, that $50,000 fine and 10% of the program's budget.
Jeez.
A lot of big words, a lot of legislation.
But I feel like it should be way more, though.
A lot more about this conversation. Our national football writer and analyst, Brandon Marcello, joining us here. Brandon, a lot of information.
I feel like it's
just
a slap
handed
on
from
the
the
wrist,
NCAA.
kind of.
Break it down. What do fans at home need to know about Michigan?
I don't know.
In the end, Michigan gets to keep its national title. I think the president was set there by NCAA President Charlie Baker back in January 2024 when he said Michigan won the title fair and square. So from then on, we knew Michigan was not going to have that national title wiped away from the record books or the trophy taken away from Michigan. But the big thing here is that the NCAA is fining, pretty much giving a tax to Michigan for winning that national title and doing so by cheating through this sign-stealing scandal led by Connor Stalions. About $20 million, if not a little bit more in total when we put all of these financial structures in place. This also includes 2 years of postseason revenue from bowl games, which obviously Michigan doesn't have yet. They're just not going to get that revenue in the future. So in the end, it's just writing out a check pretty much for Michigan to the NCAA, and that's going to be their penalty from now on. And then also, when we talk about game day, how will this affect the seasons going forward? You're just not going to see head coach Sharon Moore on the sidelines for week 3 and week 4 this season. And then also the season opener 2026, which will likely be against Western Michigan in Germany.
So no Germany for Sharon Moore, but even before we get there, obviously, Brandon, this impacts this year. And I'm wondering if we can bring back up the graphic that has all of the penalties on it, because there's a couple of ways that we can go here. I want to talk about the budget, the financial aspect.
I'm going to pause real quick. What do y'all think, bro? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do y'all feel like this was just like they let him off easy, or do y'all feel like this is, you know, enough?
Of this right there, what we have highlighted, that $50,000 fine and the 10% of the program's budget. What does this actually mean? Like, will we ever really know, what this scandal truly was, and how much is it actually going to cost Michigan?
I think when you look at the document and looking through it so far, is what's interesting is that the NCAA admits that they will never truly know the scope of this scandal, because a lot of information, including text messages involving Connor Stalions, were deleted and never were seen again, and they cannot recover them. They don't quite know the scope of what this is, which could have led to harsher penalties. Also, we're in an era where they're not removing scholarships from rosters anymore. They're more or less just giving you a financial penalty because of this new rev share era we're in. It's kind of changed the game. And then also, the NCAA admits in its report that these violations would usually constitute a multi-year postseason ban, which would eliminate Michigan from contending for a playoff spot for 2 or 3 years, if not more. But the NCAA said that we're not going to do that because most of the people...
Why wouldn't they do that, though? Michigan deserves that.
...that were involved in this situation are no longer on campus. And here's the other
So maybe
thing.
If they were still on campus, maybe they would have done it.
The NCAA process, as we all know, has been super slow over the years. This took 2 years, right?
It shouldn't have
so,
took that
of course,
long.
the people involved are probably going to get out of town and not be around anymore. But here's the thing I take from this. Going forward, remember, the power conferences created a new commission to govern things called the College Sports Commission. And the idea behind that is that they're going to be able to reach decisions on infraction cases much faster than what we've seen here in the past, including this one involving Michigan. So if that's the case, some people who are involved in future scandals might still be on their campuses. So we might actually see the return of postseason bans in future investigations involving programs in the future. So all that to say this is probably the last, the last shot we'll ever see from the NCAA involving a major investigation, because everything now here forward will be handled by this new, more nimble college sports commission that'll be handling things. But one thing I don't think will go away is that,
dude, legit, I don't know, bro. It should be way more than this.
Most programs in the future will now mostly just be penalized financially rather than the typical stuff we've seen in the past where it's vacating victories.
And why are they splitting up Sharon Moore
suspensions?
Feels like
he only gets that shift right before it was
such a big deal to lose out on playing in those postseason games.
Now it seems like in the wake of NIL and some of the ways the transfer portal has been moving, the financial aspect of this has become such a big deal. Brandon, something that I keep repeating when we're having these conversations is the fact that these coaches and assistant coaches have been assessed a show cause. We saw Jim Harbaugh get 10, Stalions 8. What does that mean for fans at home who are listening and wondering what a show cause is?
Well, if you're already out of college football and you get that show cause penalty, it makes it almost impossible for anyone to hire you, because you're going to have to go in front of the NCAA and have them hear you out as
so basically Harbaugh and Stalions basically, I guess, can't go back to college. I mean, Harbaugh probably gonna stay in the NFL anyways.
And how you would handle things in the future, it almost makes you unhireable during that time. Okay. We have seen some coaches get hired during a show cause penalty era. For example, Bruce Pearl at Auburn, he was hired right near the end of his show cause, but again, that was a difficult sell even for Auburn, but they did so knowing that the show cause was going to end very soon during that time. It would be very difficult, if not impossible, for a program out there to hire Jim Harbaugh within the next 10 years and do so knowing that he's going to be under so much scrutiny. But the thing to really watch here, of course, is Sharon Moore being under this kind of show cause penalty and having closer eyes on him. It just means the NCAA, and for that matter, you would think the new College Sports Commission, will be very focused on anything Sharon Moore does, and for that matter, anything Michigan does. So in a lot of ways, they're in a bit of a tighter box now at Michigan, and they've got to really follow the rules very, very closely.
I should mention as well, Sharon Moore was also given a 2-year show cause, and so that led to, obviously, the suspensions and all the things. So there's just a lot of legalities that go into this. We do know, Brandon.
But yeah, like I said, I think this is weak.
And Michigan's going to hold a press conference today about 1 o'clock Eastern. What are you expecting to hear from the Wolverines in that conversation?
Well, I think you're just going to hear a lot of the explanation. I don't think you're going to hear anything groundbreaking. I think you'll probably hear that I would think they're going to accept these penalties, although that will be the interesting question. Do they plan to appeal anything? In my opinion, looking at this and what could have been, I would think Michigan would end up being okay with this, but we shall see. I don't know if you
bro, they better be okay with this. I mean, dude, the NCAA let y'all off so
in the
free,
end,
bro.
The only thing they're
this
really
is not even that bad.
Is some money.
Yeah, you're gonna be watched a lot more by
Michigan,
what
that can
quote
unquote hurt you in the pocketbook. But in the end, you can move money around within a university,
I feel like it's
and it doesn't really hurt you. The way I look at this, we're talking about a program that has hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And in some ways, this is just a tax against Michigan football for what happened in the past, and they're going to pay for that over the next couple of years. And then after that, they'll wash their hands from it, and they'll move on.
What did our former Dennis Dodd said, 0.001117% of Michigan's total endowment of over $17 billion. Brandon Marcello, a lot to wade through there, but we certainly appreciate having you on the show, bringing us the latest when it comes.
I mean, I thought I was going to see, more, more penalties, more, something bigger than what I saw, bro. That's weak, bro. Yeah, Michigan let off free, just because they're, a big program, they gotta let them off, kind of easy. The NCAA could have done a lot more with this. I mean, the penalties they did give them, Harbaugh, it's gonna be harder for him, to coach in college. Same with Stalions. Stalions, I feel like he ain't gonna come back. ever. And then Sharon Moore, he gets only suspended 3 total games, 2 this year and 1 next year. Like, what sense does that make? Just make them all in 1 year. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Michigan getting investigated by the NCAA and what their punishments were. Let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, do y'all think this was good enough or weak? But I'm out. Peace.